So, for those of you who don't know, I'm here with Victoria Wreen. That's how you say your name, right?
Yes.
Okay, correct. Victoria Wreen, who is a friend of mine. We met because she did my nails for video shoots. So, if you ever see my nails looking dope in a picture or a video, it is thanks to her. But I quickly found out she's not just an amazing nail artist, but an amazing person and
Mhm.
such a hard worker, an amazing mother. And she has so many passions and she's not afraid to explore them. So she's definitely an inspiration to me, and I'm sure she will be to all of you. So, welcome. Hello.
It's a pleasure being here. All of what you said is why I do what I do. So thank you, Chloe. That's the sweetest. That's the reason I do what I do.
So, first, can you tell us a little bit about your story? Because I know you love New York, but you didn't grow up in New York. So, how did you get to New York?
Okay, so I'm really long-winded, so I'll try to, make things super short. I am older than I look, so I kind of started backwards. So I had children probably about age 18, and from in Missouri, raising two children, single parent. I was in college, in school for fine arts and fashion design at a university called Washington University. WashU's number 9 at the time. I graduated in 2006. So the children were, my two children were still in high school. They were in high school by the time that I graduated from college. So the goal was to get them out of school. I'd visited New York City several times. I I'm a firm believer. I tell people all the time when they want to relocate, visit the place you say you want to go to. Excuse me. So visited New York after college graduation, but prior to that, I'd studied abroad in Paris. So being from St. Louis, Missouri, studying abroad in Paris in probably 2004, really, you know, got me to thinking about leaving St. Louis, Missouri, going to a larger city, right? So, not knowing much about the industry, my studies were what I had to go by. So, I'm a bookworm, I'm a cute nerd. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm also an educator, so I'm a teacher. I believe in that. So, pushed my children to, to do their best, push myself to do my best. My daughter and my son have actually gone to college classes with me. I received a job with one of the local theaters in Missouri because my children were with me backstage, and I was like running the show backstage, and the forces that be saw it and offered me a job. So I was doing the work in Missouri, right? So I had the notion that if I'm putting down the work in my city, if people have to pull back from New York to say, wait, hey, what were you doing? Then there's proof, from magazine, newspaper articles to a few interviews that I've had in St. Louis, like this one I'm having with you. St. Louis Fashion Week. St. Louis had a fashion week for a while. So with my university, I was part of that. So I did the groundwork that I could do in a city like, in a Midwest city like St. Louis. So once my children were older and once I saw that I felt that I'd exhausted my possibilities in Missouri, it was time to start to focus on moving to New York City. But that mindset didn't start until I studied abroad in Paris, France. That changed everything. Right. And in reality, Missouri is very black and white. And so when I got to Paris, I saw, first of all, I was the only sister like myself on the study abroad trip. So I meet everyone at the airport, like total truth. And that was different for me, being so set apart, even in another country, right? So that began a very different transition in life, right? So in college, I would be the only one. Studying abroad in Paris, I was the only one. I get to Paris and people are like bowing at my feet, right? They're stopping me on the street, taking photographs. Like they want to know, like, what are you doing here, black girl? So I get a lot of that, and so that started the whole transition to New York City. So studying abroad in Paris 30 days. When I got back to Missouri, I was not the same person. So shortly after, my children graduated from high school, I started to, plan my New York City escape.
And when you got to New York City, do you think that was probably the most grueling place you've ever lived? Probably the hardest environment to live in New York, or it was an easy transition? Did you feel like comfortable right away? Did it take a while?
probably one of the most grueling places to live is Missouri.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like, New York doesn't have anything on. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I know a lot of people in New York that are suffering really bad too. So you and I have talked about this. Suffering is everywhere. So with that being said, it would be insensitive for me to say, "Oh, Missouri has it worse." No, like people are suffering, girlfriend. We know this. So
Definitely not.
living in New York, I've realized I didn't have it nearly as bad as I thought I did. Honestly, I have a huge home in Missouri. You know, no grass, front yard, backyard. I mean, it's a different dichotomy, right? So in Missouri, people are still doing drive-by shootings. There's still a lot of violence in Missouri. There's still a very black and white issue in Missouri. So in that regard, New York is like leap years ahead, right? But then I live in the Bronx in New York, and so I can still see a lot of that like depraved mentality in the Bronx. But also the Bronx is full of hardworking people, girl. I mean, mind-blowing hardworking people. So in all hoods and all, aspects of life, every demographic, there's a struggle story, but there's beautiful stories, too.
And have you noticed during quarantine, has it gotten worse? Are people struggling a lot more that they can go to work and in the Bronx by you?
Well, you know what? If I was selling vegetables, and if I was, a laundromat, owner, if I was not a nail technician, that could use the internet to find other ways to, you know, build an income or even think about it. Like now we all have to start rethinking, the way we like, you're a musician, we all have to think of new ways now to invent ourselves. But if you sell vegetables outside, do you have that leeway? You know, so yeah. And again, the news is talking about how, in New York City, but specifically in areas like the Bronx and, areas in Harlem and Queens and so on and so forth, where people are living sort of on top of one another. They're in like really tight shared spaces. So, that's a very complicated conversation that you and I don't have to have,
Yeah.
but other people, it's their reality.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, obviously, being a nail technician has been great for you in a lot of ways and got you to a lot of places. How did you get your start? How did you break into the fashion industry in New York? And I know you were acting too. You came to New York and started acting too. So did those happen at the same time, or did one happen before the other?
Well, technically, the nail being the fact that I know how to do nails, I was self-taught. So 16 years old, I have a cousin that was in cosmetology school. Probably I may have been 14 or 15 at this time, and she came over to the house. And at that time, I lived in the projects in St. Louis. But even though we lived in the projects, my mother taught me, it's not where you from, it's where you at. Like, mentally, it's where you at. So with that being said, I was a different girl. Stayed in the house, just, still stuck to my art even then. So and nails, and so my cousin showed me like striping tape and rhinestones. After that, it was like on and popping, right? So that particular one encounter with striping tape and rhinestones was what like stuck with me. So one day going to like the beauty supply store, my mother, I found like some of those things in the store. So that started me to doing nails with, for people that I knew as I became a teenager. So move on to high school. That was my extra cash. Like for prom, my dad and mom didn't have to give me $1 for prom. Like I paid for my whole entire prom, like all that stuff. I paid for that. So it wasn't until I got to New York City, right? In Missouri, you had to get a cosmetology license because there were no, like, I was a working parent, so I couldn't just go to cosmetology school, and I didn't want to do hair. I mean, I had my hair pulled back. I'm not really that much into hair. So I felt forced to have to take a full cosmetology program. So I kind of put it on the back burner. Again, the beautiful story about the Vietnamese and the way they, who they are in the industry, where I'm from, that's all I saw. So I didn't think. I only knew one lady, that was a black lady that did nails, and I could never get into her. So I didn't even see anyone doing nails. So it wasn't until I got to New York City in 2015, read an article. One day I was on set as an actor. I was on set one day, and I read an article about nail artists in New York City having creative representation. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, nail technicians being represented by agents and managers? Like, what is this about? So I, dug a little deeper, and I started to read more stories about, nail technicians and museums representing like their work being in, retrospectives at the museums. And I'm like, wait, my degree is in fine arts. Like, this is university level stuff. I need to see what's going on, right? So I dug deeper, and I still don't have an agent yet as in regard to nails or as an actor. But the beautiful things in both of those is that self-promotion, it pushes you, it pushes me, to self-promote. I like it because I feel like even once I get an agent and manager, whether it's acting or, nails, I will be able to help market myself instead of just sitting back letting things happen to me. So that's really what the major thing that catapulted me to get my nail tech license immediately. I didn't want to be one of those people who I lived by the last role that I received. I would be around actors and then everybody's like, oh, were you on this? Did you get this? And I'm bigger than that. And so I just, as a person, I'm bigger than that. Not, oh, I'm better than that. I mean, I'm more than just the last role that I received. So I wanted to take my mind off of that and just enjoy that work for what it is and as it comes, instead of feeling obligated to always have to search for auditions or, beat myself up if I didn't get them. So once I received my nail tech license, I sort of pulled away from set a little bit more and started to throw myself more into the nail industry, because I always wanted that so much. As an actor, which is kind of hard for me to say, or actress, that's a world I'm still unfolding, to be honest. Where I'm from, these conversations are rare. So I really don't have anyone to help me with the train of thought. Being that I'm SAG-AFTRA now, part of a union, now I have a guild of people that can help me. So I'm still baby walking in that department, but I share as much knowledge as I can with people that are interested, because I didn't know that you could catapult yourself, in ways that I have.
Yeah, and I think something you learn in New York, but not something everybody learns, is that it's so important, to come from a humble place, to have confidence, but come from a place of, I want to learn more. I want to find out more. Because if you act like you already know everything, you're
You
never
better say it.
get anywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something I've learned too, is there's always so much to learn. And as long as you don't doubt yourself and you just keep working hard, you're gonna find things you love, you're gonna find your passions. And just being open to new things and new ideas is so important, because you never know where they're gonna take you, right?
Well, young lady, that's exactly what my attraction is to you and your brilliant mind. You're young and you're vivacious and you're daring and you're bold. You walk lightly, but you carry a big stick. You don't back down. Like when, as you said, I'm more than a nail technician. You're more than just a musician. You're a woman on the move, and I admire that, Chloe. Real talk.
Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you so much.
You're a woman. You're not. As a. I've been young before. People tend to underestimate you when you're young. Girl, please let them. Anybody trying to underestimate you, let them, because you are truly doing the work, and that means a lot. Yeah.
And so you're also, as like, I know as much as you care about your career, you care about your children and your
Girl.
well. And I know it's a struggle for a lot of moms, and dads, but who have careers that they really care about, to be there for their children as well. Is there a way you try to balance that? Is there, some sort of way to cope with that you could give people advice on? Or
Did you ever see that film, Devil Wears Prada?
oh, yes, I love that movie.
You remember? I talk fast, so I need to slow it down. But remember that moment when the gentleman, I can't think of his character name, but he asked, what was her name? The main character that was just getting the internship. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Um,
She was just getting the internship. Her
and
name's on top,
I don't know her name in the movie.
but you know what I'm talking about, right? And
And
so there's that scene there on the photo shoot, and he asked her, "Has your life fallen apart yet?" And she's like, and he's like, "Welcome, you've made it." So I try not to subscribe to the like tortured artist, you know, the struggle is real, yes. But society wants women to believe that you can't be a mother and have a career and be the CEO and be the wife and be the church going, you can't do all that. And I don't subscribe to that. Like, I actually believe that if you manage your time properly, and everyone in the family has a role, right? Children have a role, parents have a role, the dogs, the cats, everybody has a place. And so, I tried my best to teach that part. Like, yes, you're my little children and I love you and you're so cute, but you're going to grow up one day and you have a role. Like, from a little kid, I'm not picking up behind you all day. Pick that up, clean that up, make songs about it. As you get older, there's no more songs. It's just, you have to do that now. So, a lot of what my teachings insist of maybe like hard knocks, just you have to do it. Um, that's really what I know. You can't really teach what you don't know. Um, I think I would love to be a more gentle spirit, like, hey, children. And I've had those moments. Like, I'm that person too. But at the same time, I'm probably a little tougher as a parent because I do have expectations. And I think the world is going to lower their expectations. Like, that's going to happen. Like, people are not the least bit concerned about how much you succeed. Usually those are people who love you and support you. And those were the tough lessons and the tough conversations. The fun comes from that too. But there's a lot of, being a parent is tough, and being at a distance is even tougher. So I can't tell you that I'm managing that like the 1000%, but I can tell you that I'm doing my very best. And every now and then, my young adults, both of them tell me, Mom, we appreciate you. So I see it, I see it. It's tough because I'm away, and being that I was the rock, I think when the rock is away, you feel it, you know. So that's tough. I can't say that that's not tough.
I think what's also good though is that you're leading by example. So, if they're ever wondering, oh, I don't know what to do, or like, I don't know what to do with my life, they can not just ask you what I should do, but look at you and how you've lived and say, well, what did my mom do? My mom worked her ass off. My mom never gave up. My mom never, and you can be not just a parent, but really a role model to them. And I think that's so important. I think a lot of parents give up on themselves to take care of their children. And in that, they actually like hurt their children because
Mhm.
they're not
Mhm.
showing their children how
Mhm.
to follow their dream.
Yeah, they can resent you for that too. There's so many things your children can resent you for, but that's not one you want them to resent you for.
Yeah, perfect, right? But
Right. Right. You don't want your children to say, to watch you not be all you can be. Like, that is detrimental. I know friends that it's not a good look. It's not. I'd rather see my children see my young adults. Let's keep that clear. They're young adults now. That I would rather them see me really striving toward being my best than just like falling by the wayside. That no. And it's not even just my children. Like, I've realized that my life is an example for so many more. I started teaching my first year out of college. So, there's young people that sometimes I don't even realize is still watching me. And they are, even older people. Just because you're younger does not mean you're not influencing people that are older. And I've learned that. I get a lot of email and DM and messages from people that are older than me, and I've helped in some way. My story, or watching my stories, help them to make some changes. So sometimes you just have to know that you're making a difference and keep going.
yeah, I mean, I know for me, it's just like that helps me so much to just in my head just keep going. Like when it gets tough, just keep going, keep going, keep going. That's been my motto for the past year because it is true what you were saying before is so true that people do try to tell you you can't do it all. They say you're gonna, you're gonna wear yourself out, you're gonna tire yourself out. It's like, no, I'm taking care of myself. I'm just working hard. And I think, you can get so easily stuck in just being one thing or
Mhm.
just being good at one thing or not being able to do it all, but you really can. And I
Mhm.
think everybody's capable of it. It's just having that confidence and that drive.
It's 24 hours, 365. You know what you're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't waste it, that's for sure.
That's true. And and it's okay sometimes. It's okay to take downtime. Everyone's downtime is different. Everyone's uptime is different. There's a big conversation now about pivoting. You hear that word pivoting a whole lot. My question is, why do people just have to like start doing things just because everyone else is? You should have been pivoting. Life is about pivoting. So for me, especially living in New York City, like I made a huge pivot from Missouri to New York City. So my life is constantly pivoting. So for me, this coronavirus time home, is giving me time to not only recollect, but to be thankful. We've been on the go, on the go, on the go, always trying to meet deadlines. And now we've had to like pump our brakes, take a minute, stay home, and self-care and all that good stuff that comes with being home. Like I said, I don't have young children anymore. So I'm thankful. As odd as that might sound, this time has been much more clear. It's provided a lot more clarity than I could have imagined. But again, I'm fortunate.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And I'm fortunate too to be able to take this time to, figure out what I want to do, what my next steps are, how I've gotten to where I am now, and, come out of this stronger than I came into it. Unfortunately, some people don't get that luxury because they're worried about food and money and, just surviving.
And it's not over. And it's not over yet. That's the deeper part. So right now, we're having this conversation. We could have a totally different conversation later.
Yeah.
I just connected with someone on Instagram from India, and they're experiencing really bad weather. I can't remember exactly what the actual catastrophe is, but there's a really bad situation with the weather now. I wish I could remember what he said, but we're just fortunate. We're very fortunate, and at the same time, we're not fortunate, but more fortunate than not. That's for sure.
And you think during this time, this downtime, what have you realized about yourself, about your career, about like where you want to take your nail art? What are the next steps for you, you think?
Wow. One of the things it pushed me to, okay, so prior to all of this, I already provide, like all the nail services. So I was, my clients like you were already wearing press-on nails and things like that. So it just forced me to kick that in gear. And because now I can send it to people who often reach out. I had a very cool message from someone that follows me, and she said, actually, she's another actor friend. She said, I have to have all of those, the ones I showed you here on the wall. A lot of these are new. Some of these are from when I was in school. When I was actually in nail tech school, I kept all of my work, but I was in the mind frame to keep the work. Like it wasn't just, it was actual, like the mindset was to keep it in case people are going to look back later. It's proof that I've been there, right? So anyway, she saw that, and I just thought it was a post. I didn't think anyone was going to want to buy all of them. And she's like, I want to collect all of them. What? So cool things like that happen. So, oh, and I have another idea, which I'm not going to share it. Well, actually, I can share it. I made a post maybe yesterday about nail salons and back in the day that used to have like photographs of like hands, like holding things, like holding a rock and, all these really cool things. But at the time, they were just in like Asian salons or whatever. And so I was thinking, people always compliment me on my nail art and on my work, on my artwork. And I thought, how cool will it be to sell my artwork for salons, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that would be really interesting because now even when you go into any salon, a lot of times, the work is just what's on the walls is based on like what the salon owner likes. But lately I've had a lot of people who inquire about my actual artwork itself. And so I was thinking this is a good time to turn that into an actual business and sell like framed work or framed prints. My mentor turns his art to prints. And so I sort of have someone I can call on to, see who he uses to turn his oil paintings into prints.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, it's beautiful artwork. It deserves to be on multiple platforms for sure.
Thank you. So you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I do. Can you show what your nails look like right now? Wow.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see.
Oh, look at that. This is my favorite. Can you see?
Yeah, yeah, that is so cool.
So yeah, I just, my nails are kind of like a canvas. They change all the time. So since we've been home, I haven't had too much of a problem with, the whole acetone, devouring my nail art. So I've been able to keep my nails done. But what I have been doing is, like I said, I've been making the press-on nails, and the other thing that I've been doing is trying to help women to be sure that they're doing the best they can with their nails at home.
Yeah, do you have any tips? I know my nails need some of your help.
Well, you're in a good situation just simply because you don't have anything on your nails right now. So my best advice to people that are gel lovers, extension, like acrylic and gel and things like that, if it's best to take it off right now, to be honest, because we don't know how long we're going to be in this situation. Most of us have been home since March. I know the salon for me has been closed since March 11th. That's a long time. And I just recently made a post to anyone that's listening that's still wearing acrylics or any type of nail extension on top of your nail. If it's grown out and it's starting to lift, because a lot of the excessive hand washing, if it's starting to lift, you need to get that off because nail fungus is probably setting in. So anyone that's still wearing extensions from March, get them off. Okay, pure acetone nail polish remover won't work. You have to get pure acetone. That's the biggest piece of advice for people that are wearing anything on their nails that is lifting, right? If you're wearing your natural nails right now, then moisturizing and keeping them filed and to whatever shape and length that you want is your best bet. You really don't have, shipping is really crazy right now. So I wouldn't advise anybody to, just start buying products and expecting them to come on time. That's not really something we should expect right now. Even some of my nail supplies are kind of lost in limbo. So the best thing you can do is moisturize and keep your hands clean. That's the best advice that I'm giving right now. If you have regular nail polish at home, by all means, have fun, practice some nail art. YouTube is your friend. Again, I'm taking, people that are reaching out to me. I'm taking questions, and if you see cute little nail art that you need questions on, that's fun. I'm always willing to help in that area. But for the most part, keep your hands clean, keep them moisturized, and get those extensions off and get those gels off if you're wearing them, and get them off safely. Don't rip them off. Don't pop them off, but definitely safely try to get them off so you don't have any problems later. And once we're all back in the salon, you can wear your nail extensions again like you want.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I know the first thing I did was make sure it came off so that because you always tell me not to peel my gels off because I know it
It
can
makes you, yeah.
be tempting sometimes, but
Mhm.
definitely not a good
I
idea.
mean, it's some people like some kind of they say they receive some type of satisfaction from peeling things off their nails, but it's just a bad look because it makes them softer and it just makes your nail plate weak.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's really interesting. I honestly don't think until I met you that I mean I always loved nails. I thought, they looked beautiful, but I think you offered me a perspective of them truly as a form of an art form and a form of expression. And once you start playing with it, you can realize how really it can change your energy, it can change your confidence. It's just a whole new way to express yourself. That's definitely, I think, if people have the time now, it's definitely a good time to start exploring, even if it's just looking at videos and stuff like that, right?
100%. 100%. As in New York City, people really appreciate. I mean, all over the world, we see that people appreciate nail art, and even if they're not wearing nail art, some of the application is just so beautiful and flawless. You almost don't want to put anything on it. It's just so beautiful. So I respect, like, calm, well done nails, as well as I do like the beautiful intricate nail art. I'm constantly praising other nail artists and nail technicians for the work because it's hard work. So I appreciate clients like yourself, who love me enough, to take the time out to get nailed by your girl. That's special. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
And I guess my last question would be if there's anybody that you look up to, either somebody or just somebody you admire, that you go to for advice or that motivates you in your life?
Oh wow, there's so many people. Of course, I can't go into names like this. This is the Grammys or something, right? I'm not winning the Grammys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you too, right? No, there's so many people. My mother and my father are good people. They keep me grounded. Your family always reminds you. You know how you see the celebrities on television and they go home and everybody's just calling them by their nickname and just treating them normal. I like that. That's what I like the most. I don't brag about, like, a lot of people, if they haven't seen me on television or seen me in a movie, or if they don't know my story, then they may not even know that I'm an actor. They may not even know me. So I tend to like the interactions like this, like with people like yourself, like just to calm, everyday necessary conversations. You want to have necessary conversations, even when I'm doing your nails. Our conversations are not about nails, actually probably not ever when you're booking your appointment. But other than that, we're talking about, what matters. So I love, my friends. I love my family, and I meet a lot of people along the way that are pillars. I could call off a lot of names. I just don't want to leave anyone out. But there are a lot of pillars in my life that I can call on, that I know I can call on. So yeah, I'm fortunate in so many regards. My professors passed away, but I still rely on him a lot. Because he taught me a lot, and so you know those my ancestors and those that are living, I thank all of them.
And I think that comes with, being so genuine and being fully yourself all the time, is that you're able to make those long lasting relationships because, you're really interested in getting to know people and they really get to know you. And like, that's how you really connect. So I'm sure that you have made such great relationships because you're so open to just
Mhm.
yourself.
I'm trying to get out here before I start. I'm trying to get through this without crying. Girl, I'm trying.
Don't cry. It's
I'm
so
trying. I'm trying. You pushing it. It's gonna mess up my makeup. I did makeup for you, Chloe. Look.
no, I said you look gorgeous.
Makeup for you. Yeah, I appreciate. You know what? Honestly, this taking this time out means more than you know, because okay, so I wanted to influence 20 women, right, to do what I do. And I've done that and some. And I had to realize that, right? There's a story about Tippi Hedren. She's an actress from years ago, but she's the reason that those 20 Vietnamese women were able to get licensed, and then their families have grown to what we see today, right? So I wanted to do that for 20 people who had no idea that the nail industry could do what it's done, what it can do. It can save women, right? It can really, men, it can save people. So it's an industry that many people don't even know. It's an art form. It really, really is. And so my nail technicians from years ago, when I would go get my nails done, I would always tell them, like, you're an artist. And many of them didn't know, but now even they know that they're artists. That's a beautiful thing. So I'm trying to get the word out. Moments like this helps get the word out. And I'm just appreciative that someone like yourself and other people recognize that what we do, is an art form. It is. And it touches lives.
I mean, I appreciate you being here so much.
Oh, I appreciate you having me, making me cry.
Everything you say is just, it's so true and it's so real, and just knowing you, it's just you, everything you say you live. Like, you practice what you
I
preach
try.
7, and
I try.
I honestly don't meet that many people like that, so you should be
Oh,
so,
Chloe,
really.
girl.
I'm
But same, 1,000% same. I mean, you're in New York, girl, beating the pavement, you know. But as I told you, where you go, I'm 44 years old. Look, if you think I'm special in any way, imagine at 44 where you'll be if you never stop. Just imagine, girl. The world is your oyster.
Can you show us those nails on the wall one more time before?
Oh, 100%. I can take it. I can take you down now. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let me give you a little light here. Ready? I'm going to turn you this way, okay?
Oh, wow.
Can you see really good?
Yeah. Literally so beautiful. I love those like marble ones on the end, those white ones.
Oh, I just did those. Do you see the salt and pepper nails? Salt and pepper Spinderella?
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, honestly. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Hopefully,
Hey, Chloe.
soon.
Yes, stay safe. Take care, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
dear.